So, appreciate you joining me on this first one, Zub.
No problem, bro. No problem at all. Man.
It's currently a unnamed podcast. Hopefully, by the time I upload this, I'm going to have a name going, right? So I've got plenty of time to think about that. I suppose, right? You work in sales. You work in closing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been in sales previously to that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kind of first touch on how we first met
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of that. So we met through a closing community. If anyone's looking to get into sales,
Mm-hmm.
right, the importance of finding a community, surrounding yourself with people that are in sales one way or another. To me, at least, that's such an important aspect of it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, or at least if you were to get into sales now,
Yeah.
knowing what you know about sales, how would you approach it differently than what you did?
Yeah, man. Like what you said about having or finding a community is the best way to go in because it's easier to do it with people rather than yourself, and especially like when it comes to the online space, is very different to the normal kind of, you can call it the corporate life. So having a community, having people around you that can show you the way is the only way, man. Like if we were to do this like by ourselves, it will take us so much longer.
Just accelerates the kind of rate of
100%.
of success. Now, you were telling me a little bit the other day, because I was kind of unaware how you got into it. I'm not sure if you want to go into any of that, obviously you can if you want, but yeah. So if you were to kind of restart your kind of sales experience, would you approach it differently, or do you feel like how you got into sales was kind of the most sensible way for you at the time?
Yeah, man. I did obviously tell you like the kind of story, and to kind of go over it again, I feel like I've always been in sales. Like I just didn't know that I was always in sales, kind of thing. So like I didn't kind of go into it, but when I was younger, like the earliest memory I have of me selling was, like I used to buy those aliens from those shops, those aliens, and like they used to market it as, if you keep it in the fridge, there will be another alien that comes out.
I can remember them. Yeah,
I used to buy them. I used to bring them to school. I used to sell them to people and sell the fact that you could actually, create other aliens from the
that
aliens.
must have been like primary school, right?
Primary school. So like it was just, why was I doing that? And after that, when I got into school, I started selling FIFA coins, and that went from just people in school to selling it like online, and then selling my account. Ended up buying an Xbox just from selling like FIFA coins. So
fair play.
I've always been in sales, and then obviously when I got older, it got, like, I wouldn't say worse, but I got into sales in aspects that I shouldn't have got involved.
In a different field, I suppose.
In a different niche, you can say.
Yeah, you can.
Not a very good one, but yeah, man, I feel like I've always been in sales, and then like as I got older, like the goal was to be a law graduate, get into law, and when I really like looked into why I wanted to, be a lawyer, was because standing up, presenting a case, selling again. So it's always been the same thing. It's just I didn't know it. I kind of just got pushed into it, and then I found out. Like, that makes sense.
So, if you could restart, then would you kind of go into law? I know there was a reason why that didn't end up happening, but if you could restart, would you go down that path, or knowing what you know now about sales and what it's done for you?
Yeah, honestly, if I like went the way I went, I wouldn't have experienced what I experienced. So it's like, do I want to do that? But obviously, knowing what I know now, knowing that this is where the passion was, I just didn't know it.
You wouldn't change it?
I wouldn't change it, but at the same time, if I was to change it, I feel like I would have done a lot by now in sales. So, yeah, like I'm not gonna like sit back and say, oh, yeah, man, I wish I did things different, because at the end of the day, it's led me here, and I feel like I'm in a good place. So just gotta keep going.
I think you touched on it a little bit the other day. Like, sales is one of those skills that even if you're not in sales specifically, it's going to benefit you in kind of all walks of life. A lawyer, just kind of day to day like communication, right? One of the things I hear a lot is sales is a numbers game, and there's kind of a bit of a dispute about that. Is it a numbers game or is it a skills game? In my opinion, it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
What's one thing in sales in general that you kind of feel strongly about that maybe people would disagree with?
Yeah, like what you said, it being a numbers game or it being a skill game, it's completely a bit of both. Like, you're not going to be able to sell if there's no numbers, and if there is a lot of numbers and you're not the best at selling, you will probably still sell to some aspects. So I would say you're right. And to be honest, what would I say about sales that some people might kind of... I feel like sales is skill, but it's more about energy. I feel like people say that already, but I think the way that you present yourself, the way you hold yourself, the way you are, besides the words you say, it's sales, if that makes sense. It's your energy, right? So if you have that kind of good energy, you go into a call, like you feel good, like things are gonna be good.
Transferring that energy.
100% conviction. It's all about believing in yourself, and I feel like that's another thing that I kind of touched upon as well. The fact that I feel like I'm a little bit too cocky because I don't put in as much work as I should, and I'll openly say that.
Okay.
But I think that comes to the fact that I have that conviction and belief that, hey, I can go in and just do it.
So you're saying that you might slack off a little bit in terms of like sharpening your skills.
Yeah.
In a kind of toolbox because you've got that energy to make up for it. You kind of it works out okay.
In my head, that's what I do. So I'm like, hey, look, I'm fucking good at this. I don't really need to sharpen my tools as much as I should. And it's honestly not a good way to go about things, but it's like, it's mindset at the end of the day. So it's like, I need to kind of transfer my mind away from that and, you know, still put in the reps.
How often are you jumping on calls and going at the end of it thinking, crikey, that was not it? You weren't on it, you weren't sharp, you were, you know, stumbling over your words. Honestly,
it does happen, like especially when you don't, like when you haven't took a couple calls, it takes you a while to get in it. That's why it's important to always practice and always keep, you know, just as you said, sharpening your tools. When you stop, it just becomes a bit more difficult, man.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit less, you know, you could say easy. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of the word.
Yeah, it's definitely a momentum thing, you're right. If
100%.
I mean, you can apply that to anything. I haven't been driving for a long time. I can imagine when I go back to the UK and start driving, it's going to take a little while to kind of get back into it. But speaking of the UK, you've recently, I know you haven't been away from the UK that long, but you were working closing in the UK, right?
Yeah.
You recently kind of left, you've done a bit in Bangkok, just come out to Vietnam for a little while. What's kind of changed, or what have you noticed in terms of your kind of flow, your performance? Has it changed at all being out in Bangkok? Or do you feel like it's easier for you to perform out here?
Honestly, like it's a bit of both, because for me, I spoke to you about this as well, like the fact that the time zones aren't the best. That's kind of made me take lesser calls than I should. So in a way, it has affected my performance, but I feel like it's just because of the offer and the location. I feel like if I was to work in a place, right, like for example, I told you about South America, like I think that would be perfect for me because I could kind of, you know, work throughout the day, enjoy the rest of the day as well. So I wouldn't say it's affected my performance. I feel like I've just not done enough, if that makes sense. And it's kind of down to just the time.
All of the other stuff around it, not the actual sales calls, whilst you're on the sales calls, but the stuff around it. And time zone, I suppose, maybe that affecting your sleeping pattern, that does have a massive effect. I mean, for me, I've kind of gotten used to the kind of unusual sleeping pattern at this point, but there's a massive community in Colombia, there's a massive community in Buenos Aires. So the next vibe I think would be to get down there 100%.
100%, like it's because Asia's amazing, like amazing place. The only thing is just the time zone, man. And that, unless you're like a vampire, you're willing to put in those shifts like yourself. Like I can't, man. And I tried. Trust me. Yeah. It just wasn't meant to be. And like in terms of what you were saying, like performance wise, like my closure rate I think has gone up. It's actually improved since I've been here. So I think putting yourself in a good environment, you know, where you're kind of, you know, just challenging yourself in a way, like it will always help you. So it's just finding the right environment that you can kind of, you know, challenge yourself in and just be happy at the same time.
So the plan for you now is to go back to the UK because of a new offer situation, right? You're kind of not forced to, but it's going to make more sense to go back.
Yeah. So starting a new offer, they want me close to like Europe and the UK and US as well, because obviously the leads are from there.
Yeah.
If I'm out in Southeast Asia, I'm taking calls at like 5 a.m, 6 a.m.
It's not ideal,
It's not ideal, doesn't make sense. So just going to go back, lock in. And whilst I've been here, I feel like it's given me quite a bit of time to kind of self-reflect on what I've done, what I haven't done, what I can improve on. So now I know that, look, okay, I need to put my foot on the gas. I need to kind of, you know, accelerate things, because I feel like I was in a position where I was just comfortable in an offer, and because I was comfortable, because I took my foot off the gas, I wasn't sharpening my tools. I noticed the performance kind of dropped off a little bit as well. So it's just kind of, you know, getting back out of the comfort zone.
It does teach you a lot, doesn't it? Even if I suppose it doesn't really matter the location, just the traveling and kind of resetting things. You definitely kind of get comfortable in your own scenario. You've had a sip of the digital nomad kind of lifestyle at this point. Obviously, you have to go back, or you'd rather go back to the UK for the time zone scenario. Moving forward, what is the kind of plan? Do you feel like the ideal space would be South America? And if South America, why? In terms of lifestyle and whatnot.
To be honest, South America will be nice, man. And obviously, like, I'm not gonna say why too much, but
I feel like people can probably get a good idea.
People probably have an idea, but I think it's just the people will be good. Yeah, not gonna say too much about the people.
Okay.
And just like the country is nice, man. It's a nice destination again, quite similar to Southeast Asia, prices wise, and yeah, like just a different world. Like I think just after going to South America, it doesn't stop there. It's like, you know, if you've got the luxury of just, you know, can we swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, just fucking off to like wherever you want to go to, like use it, you know.
Yeah. Are you thinking more so about the networking side of things as well? Are you like is South America drawing you there because of the location, as in like whether like as you say, but the networking side of things and what opportunities that can bring? Is that something you've really thought about?
I haven't thought like about that, but I feel like everywhere you go, you're going to network. You're always going to meet people, so there's always going to be opportunities. And I feel like I'm someone that doesn't put too much thought into that. I think it just happens.
Okay.
And I feel like when you put too much thought into anything, kind of, you know,
you can put
you can kind of put it off as well in a way. So
I know Bangkok's a massive space for like remote sales at the moment. Did you see much going on there? Was there any events, or were you bumping into guys in sales in
funny
coffee
enough, Bangkok is like so big. Like it's difficult to kind of, you know, really see every single person. Like I did meet a couple people here and there, but it wasn't like, you know, whoa, like there's so many of us here.
You weren't bumping into
you won't just bump into people randomly. And I feel like another thing again, the time zone. Maybe a lot of people that do, you know, sales in Bangkok are working the hours that, you know, we have to work as well. So it's difficult to catch people around that time. And when I was in Bangkok, like during my days, during the mornings, I was doing Muay Thai a couple of times, going to the gym. I'd come back, and then as soon as I come back, I'm looking in sales calls till like fucking 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and
you absolutely have to dedicate time to networking. I'm similar in that sense. I kind of just want to get my stuff done, keep my head down. Like going to the gym, people go there to socialize, and you know they're in there for an hour and a half. Most of the time they're talking. I just want to go in there, kind of get it done, and go home. Bit of a left turn. Your family or your parents, do they know what you do? Do they understand closing? Do they just think that you work from a laptop, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just my family, but I feel like the older generation don't understand, you know, how things work when it comes to
coaches online and
nomad doing coaching stuff online. They just think, okay, what is this guy doing? And yeah, like it's one of those ones. They have an idea, but it's like it's a very frail idea, and they just won't understand it. Like it's one of those ones because it's very new. Like even a lot of people that are our age, I feel like don't understand it. Like it's not that big. Like I wish it was that big, but like when you say closing or high ticket sales, like 95% of the people are going to be like, okay, what is that?
It is still very new, and it's one of those industries that the people, like my mentor was kind of telling me the other day, even the people that seem like they've got it figured out, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of, because it's so new, there isn't really any guys to like look up to 10 years in the past,
in the
right?
Game,
So we're just kind of the pioneers in that sense.
100%, man. And as you said, it's growing, right? It's new, and I feel like it's just going to get bigger. And
we're late to the party, it feels like, but we're not. We're actually early, man.
Trust me.
You know, we're certainly kind of one of the first ones in, and there's well, it must be millions of people kind of getting into it. Coffee in general, what's your thoughts on coffee and your relationship with it? Do you drink much coffee?
I feel like when you do sales, like stimulants are your shit, man. Like that's what gets you through, like especially like on the ninth call, the ninth hour of the day, like you're gonna need something to kind of keep you going. Like for me, the first call I need something, probably like mid half time I'll need something, and just before the end as well. So I would say any form of caffeine, man. Like during the day, I'd hit up coffees. Like if I go to the gym in the middle of the day, there'll be a pre-workout which is like 10 times stronger than a coffee. And then at night, I don't really like to have a coffee because again, it's going to keep you up. So I usually just go for like a tea or something just to kind of keep me going as well. So yeah, man. So throw me caffeine, man.
It is something that you take and you notice a direct enhancement like if you're on a sales call without it, would it be playing on your mind like, Christ, I'm a bit lethargic? Or
to be honest, like during Ramadan, like when I was fasting and doing sales calls, and this is very early in my career. This is like literally my first month of actually closing as well.
Can you drink coffee?
Nothing, man.
All right.
Can't drink water. Can't eat anything. Can't even swear.
God, that's a whole different thing. You can drink water. How do you?
Can't drink water as well. So yeah, I was just on calls like kind of trying to get by and
dry mouth,
literally. Just but again, like when you kind of put yourself in that state, you've done it for a while. You get used to it. You'll be surprised like what our bodies can kind of adapt to.
Putting it to the back of the mind kind of thing. And
it's like once you do it, you're like, okay, I can do it, and then the next time you do it, oh, I can do it. It's the same thing with sales, right? Before the first deal you close, you're thinking, can I do this? And then it doesn't happen for a few calls, and then it happens, and you're like, oh shit, I can do this. And then, as we spoke about, momentum.
So beyond, I suppose you could argue, well, coffee is a drug. Beyond like chemical reactions, are there any routines that you kind of need to tick off that if you don't do those in the day, it kind of knocks off your performance?
100%, man. Like I was comparing footballers to us. Remember, like the other day.
Yeah.
And I can't agree any less, man. Because if you're not in the right environment, if you're not taking care of yourself in the right way, your performance will just never be the best. Like eating the right things is so important. Going to the gym, moving throughout the day is so important. Yeah. I have ADHD as well, so for me, if I'm just staying in one place, like I bug the fuck out. I can't do it. So for me, going to the gym every day, even though I shouldn't technically be training every day, like going to the gym every day, maybe having like a day off in a week.
Why is that? Why can't you train every day? Or why shouldn't you be?
Just like it's not the best.
You need recovery days.
Recovery days. I feel like training 3 to 4 times is the best, but for me 5 to 6 is like what I always go for. And then just like, when I was before Southeast Asia, I was running as well, so I was in pretty good shape, like taking care of myself, eating the right things, and my performance was great. So yeah, like I think you need to have that in your routine. It just makes things better. A lot of coaches, gurus talk about it as well. Like the way you live behind the sales calls is what kind of energy you bring on the sales calls. 100%. If that makes sense. So
I suppose a prospect can immediately tell that if you're on it or if you're not, right?
100%. If you're in a fitness offer just like myself and like yourself as well, it's one of those ones, man. You need to kind of be on it, but I feel like it branches out to
practice what you preach in a sense.
100%.
So sales, as we previously said, it's a massive skill. It's going to help you in. There's not really anything I can think of that's not going to benefit you in your life. What other kind of things day to day do you find yourself grateful that you are in sales, but in an avenue that's not directly sales? So maybe you're kind of communicating with someone and you can notice that your kind of sales skills are helping you in that instance. Does that happen often?
I feel like it happens every day, man.
Yeah.
Like just having a normal conversation with someone, like just being able to kind of, transfer your energy onto them, like having, just like we met. Because we're both in sales, it felt like we've known each other for forever. Like it was just one of those ones. So I feel like your communication, your confidence, like the days that, for example, you've just made like £500-600, it's halfway in the day, you're going to the gym, you feel fucking amazing, you see a nice looking girl. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's just, you feel good, right? Your confidence is up, and
exactly. It's the self-confidence.
I think it helps you a lot, man, in life. So yeah.
Spot on.
So yeah, man.
I can imagine that's probably one of the obvious ones. Talking to girls is maybe one of the obvious ones in terms of like sales stuff. But yeah, any communication, literally any scenario in general.
100%. It just makes your kind of interaction with females so much easier as well. And a lot of guys are afraid, and they're kind of they become shallow when they're around females. But when you're talking to prospects and having to deal with hard things on calls all day, it's like, this is not that bad.
So if you want to get better at talking to girls, get into sales.
100%.
One step, one thing after the other.
120%.
If you weren't in sales, or let's say you for whatever reason you had to stop doing sales now, you couldn't find any other sales related role, what do you feel you'd be doing instead?
Very good question. So before sales, I was planning to kind of go into teaching full time, and I would say that will probably be like what I want to do if it isn't sales. And I know that's like completely two different things, but again, like it's not like teaching, just being there in front of kids, like presenting, and the way you're kind of talking to them, explaining things. It's all sales at the end of the day, right? It's again exchanging energy, and at the end of the day, I feel more fulfillment when it comes to kind of working with kids and helping them. I feel like that's the thing that lacks in sales at times, and I feel like I do miss that at times. But
what would it have been like? Secondary school kids?
Secondary was where I was, so yeah.
Crikey,
I think. Yeah, primary is a bit too much for me. I prefer the secondary ones because they're at least a little bit more, I would say, human. Like you can actually.
And you'd be teaching them what? Would it have been law?
It would have been English. Like,
okay.
Sadly, they don't teach law in schools, so English. Yeah, man.
I wouldn't have thought that. I don't know what I would have thought, but yeah,
PE.
I wouldn't have put you as an English teacher.
I get PE all the time. Maths, definitely not. But English is probably like was my favourite subject in school. So that and what else? I think that's about it. I didn't really like much things in school, to be honest.
Did you have a mentor growing up, or a mentor now that's maybe not pushed you but directed you in certain directions? Do you have someone now who you kind of look up to that you go to for stuff like that?
Honestly, that's something I feel like I do lack. Like I don't have that one person. I do have like people in my family that I'll speak to about things and stuff. So I do have that to an extent, but it's not like I have one person that I can kind of look up to and reach out to and say, look, what would you advise me to do next in my kind of life? I feel like
at least not in sales, maybe. At least
not in sales for sure. Yeah, but in general life, like I do have like people in my family that I can kind of speak to and I do look up to and say, look, this guy's doing this. Okay, I can try to do something like him, for example. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of relevant to me at this time, but yeah, it unlocks so much. Just having someone who's maybe like 2 or 3, even if they are literally 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, they don't have to be at the top of their game. Just having someone who you can literally, get a solidified answer from. Confidence-wise, or feeling imposter syndrome, I'm not sure if that's something that you ever really feel.
All the time.
Imposter syndrome, yeah. Do you, because you've been doing sales calls for a good while now. I imagine you're obviously more or less confident when you're on a sales call. Are you more confident when you're on a sales call than in real life situations? Do you kind of put on an act and you feel like you're acting a little bit so you can hide behind that on a sales call? Whereas, in a genuine interaction, is there any difference there?
I get what you're saying. I feel like in terms of the imposter syndrome, I feel like there are the dark sides of sales and, 100% commission-based roles. Like, if you're not selling, you're not making money, you feel that way about yourself. You're like, hey, is this really, what I'm good at? Like, you start questioning yourself, and I feel like it's those voices you've got to control. So, yeah, like, that is something that I feel like a lot of guys will face, and if you don't, then I want to be you. But when it comes to real life, like, I don't really feel like it's much of a difference. I feel like when I go on a sales call, if I'm feeling good, I'm always going to present myself in the way that I would always feel. And in real life, it's the same thing. I don't feel like I ever kind of, act in a different way.
You don't go through some mental ritual to go, right, sales call mode on now, I'm going to turn that on. And then
I'll meditate, but I think with me, a lot of people in my life, like guys that have known me from when I was 10, 12, 15, 20, 22, whatever, they always say the same thing, like you never change. So I feel like I just have that same like wave frequency. Like I'm not going to kind of be different to this person and then sit with this guy and then act like a completely different person.
That's commendable.
So
it's commendable because it's
just how I am.
It tells you a lot about your person in a sense of it's a straight line rather than, as you say, kind of changing and acting differently around different people.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, obviously, if you're speaking to someone who's a bit different to you, then of course, like there's got to be some differences, but
like prospect-wise, if you're talking to maybe a middle-aged woman compared to a 18-year-old lad, you might be using different terminology and stuff. Yeah.
But the energy is always the same. Like it's I'm this guy. I might be like this with you, but I'm this guy. So yeah.
So you mentioned meditation. What's your relationship with music? Do you incorporate music into that? If we were to look on your, is it Spotify do you use or Apple Music? If you were to look on your Spotify, what's your recent play? Are you using that daily as a tool?
What I use is this, like, I can't remember the name of the person, but it's like it's just on Spotify. I just searched it up one day because I was like, fuck, 3 calls in, I can't get a sale, what's going on? Someone told me about meditating, so I was like, you know what, let me slap this on, right? So I put on 10-minute meditation, and there's a woman that just guides you through it, and she's just like, close your eyes, take in deep breaths, whatever it is, you just follow her. And honestly, like, I felt so good, I felt calm, and like the voices shut off in my head. And then I went into the next sales call and I got like a 4K piff, and I was thinking, this shit works, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this, and then. Like, again, it doesn't work every time. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I noticed a huge change.
It definitely puts you in a better mental state. So regardless of whether or not you close the call, you definitely feel better after you've done a meditation. Like, personally, yeah.
I feel like it just shuts off the voice in your head. So once the voices are gone, you know, you're relaxed. You're kind of, you know, in your zone again.
Yeah.
And you're not, you know, when you're going to go into the call, tonality is going to be on point. Everyth's going to be on point.
Do you listen to much music, like with lyrics, actual proper, you know, artist music? Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that reduced since you started?
Sorry about that. I would say it has reduced to an extent. Like, I still listen to music. My music taste is all over the place, but
yeah,
like during sales calls, like obviously I'm talking to someone, so I can't like play a tune. So it's one of those ones. But for example, if I need some motivation, right, I'd usually kind of either watch like some YouTubers that have sales related stuff. I feel like
YouTube's
Jeremy
massive.
Miner's obviously one of the goats.
Yeah.
Like, and there's another guy, Matt Ryder, that he works closely with, another good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another guy called Josh Lyons who's more in like the closing niche rather than just everything else. So just watching those guys, just to kind of, you know, if it's something that I feel like I did wrong, I'll just watch something about what I feel like I did wrong. Not watch it once, watch it twice, you know, just to kind of see, okay, cool. Yeah, that's just how I deal with it.
YouTube's definitely massive. I mean, we were talking about finding a community. If you're in a position where you can't find a community at that point, let's say you're just starting, using YouTube almost as your mentor. Because if you're watching like an hour podcast whilst you're just doing whatever, in a sense you are surrounding yourself with those people, and it's all information that's being fed in. Like to me, after I've watched a podcast like that, I can definitely feel an effect. I feel like I've literally taken the kind of knowledge of these guys, you know.
Have you heard of mental masturbation?
I've heard of the phrase. Yeah.
So it's like I feel like YouTube's great, but it's like when you have a community, when you have, like, as you said, you've got a mentor, it's a complete different ball game, because, you know, having all the information is not the problem. Like, realistically, if we both wanted to, we could have done closing by just going off YouTube, realistically, because there's so much information.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not directed to you, there's no structure in there, it's like you're just kind of going around looking at this, looking at that, and I'll be honest, a lot of times people quit in anything. It's because it's overwhelming, right?
Yeah, it's almost like it's just a thought. You're just watching YouTube videos, you're not taking action. You have to actually put it in place, right? You have to have like a development plan almost.
Exactly, like it's the right things, right order. What do I do now? What do I do next? Like there's a lot of things to kind of look into. Yeah. And I feel like YouTube's just surface level, and obviously that comes to sales as well. It's surface level, and like, how do you actually become a great closer? You need to dig in deeper. And
investments, right? Investments is the next step.
100%.
Now we invested into like a program, a community. That's obviously where we kind of originally got in contact. So that in and of itself, I mean, there's the value there, the kind of connections and the relationships you're going to make through that. But do you feel that it's vital if there's someone that wants to get into closing, appointment setting, whatever the case may be? Do you recommend them investing some amount of money into it, or they can go their own route? They can watch YouTube videos and they can do it that way.
100%, man. Like I wouldn't ever say not to invest, because, like, again, we're salespeople, right? And most of us deal with coaching, online businesses, whatever, right? We have to kind of have that belief for the prospects in a way, right? If you don't believe in coaching, if you don't believe in investing in yourself,
true.
It's one of those things. How are you going to tell someone to invest in themselves if you don't believe it? So, like, once you make that investment, whatever it is, if it's sales, if it's, you know, you trying to lose the 20 kgs, whatever it is, it's like your skin is in the game, right? You have a bigger reason to do it because you put money in it. So you're going to be more determined, you're going to be more focused. Like, you're going to know that, look, I've invested my time and money, I need to make this work. I feel like it's the most important thing anyone can do.
What do you feel has been the biggest investment? Maybe thinking outside of the box, because obviously investing into a program that's kind of straightforward and direct. For example, for me, I feel like the investment of traveling, like actually catching a flight and leaving, you know, the UK, leaving your environment. To me, that's an investment. That's unlocked a lot for me. What do you feel has been like the biggest, needle mover, and actually change your quality of life?
For me?
Yeah.
It's a tough question, man.
Could be anything. Could be something physical. Could be a service. Could be, you know, over the last year, let's say.
Over the last year. Obviously, the program comes to mind, 100%, because that was like one of the biggest investments I've ever made. But if I'm trying to think outside the box,
it was a big investment in terms of cost. But do you feel like the value was? Do you feel like the value was kind of in line with that, Or is there something else? Because you might have paid £20 for something and it have had a bigger effect on you.
Yeah.
You know.
To be honest, I feel like when it comes to coaching programs, the value is always,
It's always in your.
It's always in your head. You're always thinking like, yo, like, is this worth it? I feel like the value depends on every single person. Like, I think person A, being me, might have took the value from that program, let's just say like 10 times. But then person B, who just, didn't do what he needed to do, might have took the value from that like times 0.5 or -1 or whatever, right? So I think it depends on you, right? And the more you kind of look at the value and think, oh, my days, I've invested this and I've made this, it doesn't help. It's like you've got to see it as a much bigger investment than just the moment or the year or even the next 2-3 years.
It's more difficult when you're not buying something tangible, right? If you're buying a service like that, as you say, you've got to provide it its own value in your own head, right? I would say, in my experience, I invested into something that I probably shouldn't have. I wasn't in a perfect financial situation, and then it kind of affected what I got out of it. So if you are going to invest into something, I would say it would need to be, 10%, 20% of what you've got available, and sometimes that's not always doable.
100%.
Because it might be a couple thousand to invest into a coaching program. Not many people have got 10k sitting in their account, so but it's kind of.
I think it depends as well. Like, I think if you, for example, if you invest a good portion of the money you have, you put yourself in a difficult position. I think that can also help, like, benefit you in a positive way as well. So again, it's just coming over that mentally, right? Understanding, look, I'm doing this. I know I'm in a tough position right now, but I've got to do this. And I'll be honest, when I invested, I wasn't in the best financial position as well. So it was kind of motivating. It was like, okay, I've invested in myself. I'm not going to look at this 6 months. I'm going to look at the next 6 months.
Well, sometimes that's, I suppose, if you're closing someone for a coaching program, you're going to get that objection a lot. You're going to get a cost objection, and the frame there is it a symptom or is it a cause? You haven't got enough money because you haven't got the skills that this program's going to give you. So then you have got the money to kind of invest into it. So it's kind of what comes first, the kind of chicken or the egg. Exactly, Is there someone who you look up to in the sales space as like not a mentor, but someone that you would kind of aspire to be? You kind of like what they do and their content and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think, again, like we spoke about, obviously, our program, there's one guy called Yeston, who I think is a pretty cool dude. He started his own kind of sales program as well. He's doing his thing. Like, I kind of was working an offer with him, and he was like my manager and stuff. So just kind of watching his calls, like, I learned a lot, like the way the guy just speaks, really, his tonality, and so that is obviously one of the guys. And if I'm to kind of go broader, again, I mentioned a couple of the YouTubers,
Jeremy Minor and whatnot.
I think Jeremy Minor is great. Again, he's always surface level because he wants you to pay for his stuff, but I think that's the game.
He's massive on tonality and stuff like that, isn't he?
But if I'm to kind of really go into like a closing call, like Josh Lyon has tons of like calls that you can go on, and then he just breaks down, these guys' calls like to a T, so you can learn a lot. But again, it's just one of those ones. It's like doing this consistently. And if I'm being honest, this is something that I do slack in because, again, as I said, sharpening my tools is something that I put off because in my head I'm always thinking, I could take a sales call, or I could do this, or I could do this. And I think just breaking those beliefs and just kind of, giving time to yourself throughout the day, even if you take less calls, I think that's something that I want to change and, want to adapt into my game. And
almost 2 steps back, one step forward. Sorry, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. You have to kind of pause sometimes to then take a larger step forward. Absolutely.
100%.
Talking about success and these guys that maybe we're looking up to, how do you define success on a 10-year time frame? You might not think that far in the future, but if I'm going to put you on the spot now, 10 years from now, where would you have to be to feel like happy days? Yeah, I've ticked the boxes there. In terms of your sales career?
Honestly, like, I think sales is beautiful, your career is beautiful, but it's like success isn't just, making a shit ton of money. It's more than that, right?
So you wouldn't put a number on that success?
I would say it would be good to, still be doing this. I think maybe by then I might be doing something different, but around the same field. For me, it will more time be, what have I done outside my sales life? Because again, as we spoke, right, like how you are outside of your life outside of a sales life is, you know, the energy you're going to bring onto the calls. And in the next 10 years, if I feel like I'm not in a position where I'm happy, you know, I've done something for my family, like I've got potentially a wife, because I'm going to be in my mid-30s. We spoke about marriage.
Yeah.
I'm Muslim at the end of the day. So, yeah, just kind of being in a good place outside, and then I'm sure if that's the case, I'll be in a good place when it comes to...
So success, potentially marriage is going to come before career, potentially... Because for me, I was thinking more so, like, 10 years from now, success, I'm very, like, career-focused. But yeah, absolutely. I suppose marriage could be equally as big a milestone for success, or like maybe having a place to live, bring up a family, that kind of thing.
Yeah, man. I think your career is amazing and is important, but it's like, what are the things that are going to help your career, right? And if some people just feel like, you know, working by themselves, focusing on something by themselves is the way. I feel like you're that type of guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like having someone that's a good person and supportive, that's going to push you.
Teammate, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's accountability. I know it's not the same as having a mentor, but yeah, it's one of those ways to kind of look at it as well. So yeah, man.
Spot on. Zubair, happy days, brother.
Happy days, man. Good to be here, man. And let's see what you name the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's see what you name it.
I've got a bit of time, but spot on.
Yeah.
Happy days. Thank you, guys.